the Nephew and Uncle Basketball Banter. Uncle Dave, I'm going to start with let's start over with the Western Conference and the game that we had earlier today here with the Nuggets and the Thunder. So what's your assessment so far of this series and today's game?
Well, the Nuggets and the Thunder today was a weird game. Looked like the Thunder were going to have a repeat of the other night in Game 3 when they all stood around and watched SGA try to dribble through everybody and didn't run any offense. But today, obviously, they made a couple of big shots. They're down. They were down 7 there for a second, and then they had a big three. They had a big lob to the big fella down low,
Holmgren.
and all of a sudden it's like a 2-point game. The thing that really helped them was Denver missed 4 free throws in the last minute and a half. Also, the Thunder went to the foul line a ton in this game today. Just massive amounts of foul line stuff for them today. They went to the foul line. I got to check the number, but it was pretty crazy. But this series right now is 2-2, and it looked like the Thunder were going to, basically give away, their I don't know. I want to say give away their chance. They get down 3-1. It would have been tough. But Denver, I just still don't think has enough. But here we are with 2-2 again. Yeah, I know 2-2 favors the Thunder right now, but still, that game today was a little crazy. But the Thunder just shot a ton of free throws and
If
they
you're the
found
if
their
you're
way.
the
SGA
if you're
got
the
to the free throw
Nuggets,
line a
if you're the
bunch.
Nuggets, you're kicking yourself for now. You missed 10 free throws and you had 13 turnovers, and that's really the game right there.
Well, the
And
weirdest thing about this
Jokic
series,
from the free throw line, he's just been off this series. He
he's
had,
not shot well the whole series. This is
yeah,
the first time I've ever seen this from him. So it's a very strange series. It's a situation where you look at the free throws and they go 20 for 26 from the free throw line. Chet has still been okay. He's not been great. Did have 13 rebounds today. Hartenstein was pretty good today. 14 boards from him
yeah,
and
he's always going to play defense and rebound, and he makes
right.
enough of his shots. When he shoots the ball, it normally goes in. He's like
Yeah, and Shea
65.
goes 9 for 12. There's your game right there. I mean, he goes 9 for 12. And off the bench, Caruso was solid again today, 3 for 7. Wiggins and Wallace was solid. So
Well, that's
the
the
bottom
thing
line
with the
is,
with the Thunder. They're so deep. They have enough guys that are on for you any
well,
given
if you
night
look
that you can win.
on the Nuggets bench, on the Thunder bench today, they go 8 for 14 from three. Caruso, Wiggins, and Wallace, those three alone.
Yeah.
Didn't even Jalen Williams didn't play well today, and they won. Lou Dort did not play well today, and they won. So that's a positive.
Yeah, they have enough. They have
Williams,
enough punch off the bench where that can
yeah.
carry them for the day. And I can tell you this with the Nuggets, if you tell me how Michael Porter plays, I can tell you if they've won or lost. I mean,
Well, that's the funny thing.
the games where
Porter's had
where
a
they,
couple of good games, and then
yeah,
today he hits a jump shot, and then after that he gets 9 rebounds today. But his left shoulder obviously is barking. But Aaron Gordon's been the most clutch player in the
yes,
playoffs.
he's been the most consistent player for them, I think, for the Nuggets.
But Christian Braun and Porter didn't give him much today. And again,
Yeah.
the Nuggets volume shot today. For the game, you can't shoot 31% and win a basketball game.
No. And
It's amazing it was
Russ
that
has been
close.
normal. Russ has been usually a lot better than he was today too. So
But here you are. You shoot 31%, you lose by 5.
I know.
So
Turnovers and the
again,
free throws. You're thinking you should have won this game if you're Denver.
as I always look at these things, people always talk about the statistics that they want to talk about, but those are called flip-flop things. To always be able to say, well, can you imagine if
Right.
who'd have
Right.
thought if I did this or who'd have thought if I did that? Well, if you shoot 31%, you think you're losing by 40. And we know that the Thunder defense is very good and capable of doing that. But on the series, the Thunder outscoring the Nuggets by 10. Obviously, it's a little warped from the one blowout. Uh, the Thunder getting 5 more assists a game. The turnover battle, though, Nuggets 17 turnovers a game. Thunder is getting 11 turnovers a game. So it's totally different.
And if you're the Thunder, you
Um,
think honestly, the Nuggets should not have won any of the games. Really, game one and game three, you thought you should have won if you're OKC,
sure.
probably.
Absolutely. Well,
Aaron Gordon
they,
hits a
well, they
three. What was it? The last game, Aaron Gordon hits a three in the corner to tie it down.
sure. Well, they
20
also gave
seconds
away the
left.
lead. SGA, people give him credit for give him shit for going in and making a layup, but he did the right thing to make the layup. The problem is he started fouling too soon.
Well, that was the thing. Game one, Coach Degenol, I totally blame him on that. You don't foul right away when
You
it
don't
was
foul
only
with
a
12
3-point
seconds
game.
left.
And he wasn't even letting any time come off the clock. They were fouling them right away like they were down
Yep.
almost. So only point 0.5
Yep.
off the clock and you extend the game. If you're the one up, you don't want to extend the game. So
No.
anyone who's a fan of that foul while you're up, that did not bode well for you.
Well, I think it's a bad move for the Thunder. Everybody brags about how they're the best defensive team in the league. Well, if you are,
Then
get a
prove it.
stop.
Right, exactly. Right.
And people always go, well, the numbers say, I heard a stat actually, the numbers don't say it. I can think of many examples where Fallon didn't pay off. I mean, look at Jones and, Trey Jones against Carolina a couple of years back was one of them. And again, this year we've seen it a couple of times. Fallon doesn't work all the time.
I've never been a fan of it unless you take some time off the clock and you have a foul to give. That's the only time I believe in
You
fouling,
get under 4 seconds and
and
the
you
team
could
has
do
to
it.
go the length of the floor. I get it. But if you get under 4 seconds and you're in that half court area, I don't know if that works. Because if you're in that half court area, it doesn't really work. If you're in that situation, you can definitely lose that situation. And look what happened to the Thunder in that game.
Well, my whole thing is too, I don't like, it's not obviously you'd rather be in this position than not. Only up one, taking the ball underneath your own
You've
bucket.
been right. Good.
I'm not a fan of doing that.
No, I'm not a
Am I
fan
gonna
of that either. If you're a great defensive team, get a stop.
Yeah, taking the ball
And that's
your own
that's the
basket up
thing that
one.
pisses you off.
Because
But
you
in
put
this
pressure on
series,
your inbounder and you put pressure on
yeah.
yourself to inbound the ball and make
Well, this is the first time that the big fella's not shot well. Though, if you take a good look, Nicola's shooting 39% for the series. I've never seen a guy be a better bad shot maker than him. He's shooting 39% for the series.
he's struggling this series and from the line too.
He is getting 14.8%, 14.8 rebounds. Yeah, 77% from the line for him. So that's the thing. Maybe he's tired, or maybe this is going to be the worst we've ever seen him.
Yeah, I think that really Braun and Westbrook. There's just I don't know, like you said, there's not enough maybe of a punch offensively with this team.
Well, that's the thing.
Aaron Gordon's really improved his jump shot, so that's helping him a lot. I think if he was the player he was last year or the year before, they would be already maybe eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Aaron Gordon's hit a couple of big. He's been very
Yeah,
clutch, as you know, in the last series and this
yeah,
series. But the Nuggets are shooting 40% for the series.
yeah.
What they're doing is they're throwing a second body at Joker, and Chet's big enough to block a shot. And so they're putting Hartenstein on him, and they're just basically daring you from the weak side. And a big trend we're seeing in these playoffs, more than any other playoff, and me and you have talked about this many times, it's a lot more zone in this playoff than ever before.
Yes, there are.
And both teams here were playing zone. I know Cleveland put in a zone tonight, so what that did. So there's a reason you do that. Right now, you're building a wall against the Nuggets, and Brown's not a great shooter yet, and so like you'll live with him and him taking shots, and Michael Porter in certain situations taking tough shots. But at the same time, you're seeing a lot of zone, which let's you know that you don't trust some of these teams outside shooting. Like if I was like the Warriors right now, are playing like almost like a 1-3-1 in some situations against the T-Wolves, which we'll talk about another time. But the zone has been very popular this series.
I like it because I could funnel the ball to where I want, and you
Yep,
make a team try to break a
yep,
zone. By the time you get the
yep,
ball over half court, you got like 15 seconds to do that. So I like
yeah.
sprinkling that in and making these guys think on the fly like that. I think it's a smart move, I think, from a coach.
And again, it's the old, well, what would you have said if this was going to happen? And again, it works both ways. So if you're shooting 40%, I'd say that the Nugs are lucky to be 2-2. At the same time, SGA is not really cooking yet, although he did a great job today, and it's only 2-2. In game one, I thought they got pushed around a little bit, the Thunder. I don't think they were big enough. I know they tried to adjust that in the offseason, but if you want to address size in the offseason, Hartenstein's not the size guy you're trying to address. You're trying to address it with a shot blocker or a rim protector. Hartenstein's a very good player. He's had a mediocre series too. A shot that he usually shoots 80% on. He's shooting 50% for the series, so he can live with it, but he's missing those bunny shots. Like the other day, down the stretch of that game. I mean, you can see that the Thunder learned today. They actually got a couple of good cuts versus the zone. They screened the top part of the zone so that the guy could attack, so we could attack the middle. They screened it with Caruso. Then Caruso one time popped back and hit a three. The other time they screened the part of the zone. Shea attacked the middle, and then they caught the guy cutting backdoor from the wing. That's something that we do in high school all the time. I mean, it's a good set. But you can see they attacked it. And Denver right now, I still can't believe here we are. I still don't think they have enough help. I think they're still one. I think they're one more good rotation guy short. Watson was good the other day.
We brought up
Today,
in a previous shows that they really missed the Contavious Caldwell Pope or Bruce Brown type of guy. They missed that.
sure.
A guy
Yeah,
who can
because
be
it
consistent for
gives you
your
another
offensive
guy.
score. Yeah.
It gives you another guy, and
And we
so
love Russ, but there's times where outside shooting for him, it's hot and cold. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and so Peyton Watson's done a decent job. He's playing 13 minutes, so you can live with that. But he's giving you a little bit, but he's a guy again that he's just not trusted that much in the rotation. And so right now, the rotation is really not big enough. So Dylan Jones played one game. Not Dylan Jones. My bad. Hunter Tyson played one game. DeAndre Jordan played one game. But obviously, there's a reason they don't trust these guys. And so
five
they're
minutes,
still
DeAndre Jordan.
basically,
Give 5 minutes. That's what you need. That's
yeah,
what
they're
I
still
think.
they're still playing basically seven guys right now, or six guys really, if you think about it. I mean, they're playing, the big fella, Murray, Gordon, Westbrook, Braun, and then Porter. And that's really, they're playing Westbrook too, and that's really about it right now. They're not playing a lot of guys. They're playing really six guys right now,
That I
and
think,
that's just not
when you don't
enough.
have exactly, if you don't go to that seventh, eighth, maybe even ninth guy, I think it really hurts you. I think guys have an off night, your legs are killing you. I think it really,
Well,
it could put you in a really bad spot. I think we're seeing that also with the Knicks. I think they're kind of
yeah,
getting
and
rough.
plus, we've talked for years about the Joker minutes when he's not on the floor, and so it hasn't really affected him not having that seventh guy because his minutes are always very sparse to come out of the game and get off the court. But maybe it's starting to climb on him a little bit, or this maybe that second body, and maybe the Thunder are just wearing him out a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously this has been a fun series, but like you said, a weird series, and now you have this. Usually these game fives, when the series is tied, that's usually the deciding game right there. So obviously,
Well, if the old stat's going to come up now, team that wins game five is won the best
yeah,
seven,
it's close to
85% of the
seven. Yeah,
time.
it's close to like, yeah, I was gonna say it's like at least 7 out of 10. So obviously that next game is going to be huge,
Oh,
and
that's going to be huge.
yeah, in OKC. So I believe that's where it is, right? It's going to
But
be the
I
Thunder.
think today's important because we talked about this. It's great to be, everybody's pick where like it's like the fifth grade girls, they all like the same boy. It's that great to be everybody's pick. But at the same time, we talked about it. OKC get punched in the mouth. Well, they responded today. They
They
got
did.
punched in the face. They're about to go down 3-1. They're down seven at the beginning of that fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, they had all the momentum, the Nuggets. The Nuggets started shooting well. They hit 7 threes in the third
Yeah,
quarter.
Gilgeous-Alexander and Wiggins and Caruso, they just made the big plays when they needed to make
Yeah,
them.
and all of a sudden, they're about to get punched in the mouth. And the only bad thing about their depth is Coach Dagnall has to really figure out which guys are on that day, and that's hard.
Yeah,
Because
especially when
today,
you're deep, you might
yeah, today
oversub
it was
then.
Caruso. Caruso bailed him out. Wiggins bailed him out. Wallace. I mean, so that those guys weren't really on the floor as much as I thought they could have been the other day. So
Yeah.
this is a tough situation. You have to figure out which one you're doing, which way you're going to attack, and you go from there. But it's been a crazy series, but it's definitely been very enjoyable.
Yeah, when you're deep, you have more cards to play, but that's not necessarily a good thing
Sure,
because some guys
absolutely.
maybe play through a little bit of a
It means that the coach has to really be locked in. You got 25
yeah.
heads on that bench. That's almost a bad thing
Head's got to
sometimes.
be on more of a swivel than normally if you're not as deep, honestly. If you're more deep,
Yeah,
more of that
as a
issue.
coach, it's a little bit harder with the depth sometimes. You got to find the right combination.
Right. So obviously that game five, it might
It'll be
come all
fun
the way down to that. Yep. All right, we'll move
Tuesday
on.
night.
Yep. And we'll see obviously on I think it's in OKC, right? It's in
Yes.
Oklahoma. So obviously the
Yep.
Thunder have that home court there. And now we'll move to the other Western Conference matchup, Uncle Dave. We'll go with
advantage of the fact that that man
the the Timberwolves and the Warriors. And I was rooting really hard for the Warriors in this game without Steph. You kind of want to see the team that's undermanned pull out
Sure.
here. And it kind of goes to what you said in the postseason. Unfortunately, in recent years, we have this theme where guys go down in the postseason, and it just
Yep.
kills the mojo of a team
Yep.
series. So Steph going
Yep.
down with a strained hamstring there, obviously that's
Yeah.
how this dynamic is. And the Warriors, they were able to win game one with a majority without him, so they prove that they can be competitive without him. But obviously, to win a series, it's a whole other different.
Yeah. Well, this is one of my major beefs. Again, modern NBA. Can you imagine like the Warriors with this lineup stopping the 80s Sixers, the 80s Lakers, or the 80s Celtics? They would just post this guy up all day long. You're
Right.
telling me Draymond's covering Bird, Parrish, or McHale in the post?
No, well, that's the thing. You
Or
don't
he's
have a true offensive post guy. That's why you can play like
or he's well, no, but people are too stubborn to go do it now. Or he's going to cover
yeah,
Moses Malone, or he's going to go cover Kareem.
right.
No, So, like, this is my complaint with modern basketball. You could tell me that they're more athletic, whatever. They're not bigger and they're not thicker. You look at modern day centers, they're twigs. They're definitely not smarter. This is the problem with the modern game. We've seen some record breaking performances that we'll talk about when we get to the Knicks and the Celtics. But here we are. We have a situation where you can't post up a 6'6" guy who's known to foul trouble, who's prone to getting technical fouls. Like Moses Malone would have him crying by the half.
Right.
I mean, now I know those are all-time great centers, but Robert Parrish would have him crying. Kevin McHale would have him crying. Like you have to throw the ball in the post. The Warriors are playing with the biggest guys, 6'6".
Like you said,
And when
too,
Kuminga comes in, now it's 6'8". I mean, so the
but
Warriors
he's not a post defender though, or offensive threat. He's not a post guy.
exactly. But the thing is, like, they're playing without a guy that can stop anybody. So and they're allowed to be stopped. The T-Wolves last night were pathetic. The fact that they're struggling to win these games, to me is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler isn't even playing like out of his mind, not like he
No,
was
he's
a couple
not.
of years ago for Miami. My point is, like, how are you this bad that you and please, can we stop with the Edwards Jordan stuff? He had 1 point in game two, I think, at the half.
Yeah.
And we
It's
had
terrible.
7. You had 7 the other night. Now it's not the points, but he had no impact on the game until the second half.
Right. And then they only win this game by 5. The
Right.
Warriors really had it, in the fourth quarter. They were in striking distance to win this
Yeah.
game.
He
And
hasn't even been he has Jimmy. I mean, he hasn't even been their best player, Edwards. It's been Randall.
yeah. Yeah, Julius
Randall's averaging
Randle has stepped
17 a
up.
game. Randall's averaging 22 a game. He's getting 9.5 assists, and he's getting basically 6.5 boards a game.
And
He's having a
and, I,
great series.
and McDaniels and Connolly have had kind of some big moments too, more than
Sure, they have,
Edwards.
yeah.
So
And Nas
yeah,
Reed
he
has
played
his
well.
moments. He got hurt a little bit. Rudy is not scoring enough, but they're not giving him the ball either. Walker's had some moments. DiVincenzo's had some good moments. He's had some bad ones too. DiVincenzo's got to get more shots. He's got to play more. Nas
Yeah,
Reed's
more
got
than
to play
he
more.
only in this game, this last game here, he only took 3 shots. Dante DiVincenzo could really fill it up for you, so he's definitely got to
He
be
sure
more
can.
offensively
Plus, he
involved, I think.
defends. But Draymond has stepped up his offensive game until the other night. Draymond only had a
Yeah, he only
couple of
had two
points the other night,
points.
but before
Yeah,
that,
yeah, he had like four
Draymond had
threes.
some good games.
He had 4 threes, and yeah, I think it was game 2 where I think he did. He had a excellent
Yeah,
shooting, kind of
yeah,
a throwback
he
to
was
what
he
he used
did
to
some
be.
good things. So Draymond has done his job. Pozinski is really killing him now.
1 of 10, my goodness, in this
I
game.
mean, he's just not that kind of player. I know everybody falls in love with these kind of guys, but Moses Moody's got to, get more minutes than Pozinski gets. Moses Moody's playing 9.4 minutes a night. And here we are again. It's one of these strange things with Kerr. Moody's played a lot more all year long. All of a sudden, he's playing 9.4 minutes. Quentin Post in this series is hardly playing at all. He played a lot all year. All
Who
of a
looked
sudden,
great in
not
this game
playing.
3 was Jonathan Kuminga. He was 11 of 18. How about this? A guy who wasn't playing at all in the first round. He
Yep.
totally comes
Yep.
comes out of nowhere now with Steph going down, and he's able to produce for them. So obviously they got to ride that wave. And Buddy Hield played
Sure.
okay, and Jimmy Butler, but just besides Butler though, and Hield and Kuminga, they offensively are definitely struggling. None of these other guys are really guys who can score for you. But like
Oh,
that's why
sure.
I think Moses Moody. I think you got to play him. He could get going. So I think you have to give him more minutes now, with
He
especially
could get
Curry.
going, and he's long enough to help you out a little bit.
Right, right, yeah. So I think maybe you play Pajensky less than 39 minutes and maybe play Moody a little more, and that's how you have to do it
Well,
if you're Coach Kerr, I think.
yeah, they have to win tomorrow night. And the hamstring thing for a guard, as a person who knows the history of the game, 1989, Game 2 of the NBA Finals, Lakers are up against the Pistons, and Magic pulls his hamstring.
Yeah,
Doesn't get to come back for the rest of the series. Lakers were down 1 game to none, but they're up in Game 2 and they got swept. Game over.
right.
So and what happened was, Isaiah and Dumars just kept attacking. You should have one less guard. It hurt the rotation, it hurt the depth. Kareem was on his last year, so he was older. So they just attacked it. And when you're a guard, and Steph Curry, they say, runs more than any guard as far as like miles during a game
Oh yeah,
in the
absolutely.
NBA than anybody else. So this is not going to be a good situation. Maybe you get him out there for a decoy in Game 6, but this is not a good situation.
No, they
But the
kind of
T
really
Wolves,
they had to win. I think last night. I think was their best chance. I think right there.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the T Wolves are so mentally challenged, and the
they are.
NBA today is
No, they've
so
not looked good in
foolish.
this series, considering Steph really has
Yeah,
not played at all in this series. They've looked bad.
right. And the whole NBA today is so mentally challenged and falling in love with this 3-point shot that you've forgotten all brain cells. Yeah, sure. If your jumper's going from the outside, heat check all you
Yeah,
want.
right.
But right now, they got a 6'6" guy playing center. Julius Randle's like 6'9.5".
Well, that's
Anthony
the
Edwards
thing.
is
It's like, why is Anthony Edwards shooting 14 3-point shots then? You can get to the cup on anybody. Kim can
and
doing
and
that.
and they can't shot block when he gets there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't have a guy waiting at the rim. So
So
you're
my
gonna
point is, again, the 3-point line, while great, it's the lazy man's out. If you're not hitting it, it doesn't do shit for you.
right.
So this series has been totally like, as far as the statistics go, it's like a nut cutter, but at the same time, like it just doesn't make any sense. So Edwards, yeah, he's averaging 26 a game, but he's shooting 44% versus a team with no shot blocker.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
you're shooting 35% from three if you're Edwards, but that's too many of them.
Yeah, he's been
Go
inconsistent.
shoot more
Yeah.
twos.
Yeah, he's been inconsistent so far. Yeah.
Yeah, go shoot your twos.
Yeah, this
He's
is
shooting over
honestly
50% from two.
in a playoff setting with your heightened focus right now, the Warriors should not even come close to beating you. You should be winning by double digits easily in every
Yeah,
game, I think, especially with no Steph.
yeah. You got to
Now,
get
like,
more out of DiVincenzo, though. DiVincenzo's the guy, and Mike Conley's got to get a couple more shots, too, because he can hit that 15-footer.
yeah, yeah,
So,
the Warriors.
my thing is Gobert, DiVincenzo, and Conley got to give you a little more. I mean, right now, between them, they're averaging like 18 points a game between the three of them. That's not enough. Got to be more than that.
Yeah, this was a game. The Warriors just had to turn the ball over a little less than what they did. 14 turnovers, just a little too many. And
Sure.
Pochemski missed a couple. Really, he had some great looks, and they just did not go for him. So I think that obviously hurt them. And Draymond fouling out with about 6 minutes left, that obviously killed him too, because he obviously wasn't playing great offensively. But you need him out there, I think, for just
You
leadership.
have to because you're so small without him.
Exactly.
You're small to begin with. Now you're
Yeah, you need him
smaller.
out there. Yeah, yep. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, with you have a little of a sense of desperation now at this next game, because I think they know if they go down 3-1, this thing is over.
No,
Uh,
but Minnesota's going to
go
keep you in
back to
this game because
Minnesota.
they're
Well,
very
that's the
stupid.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta hope that they'll kind of leave you a crack that you could step through.
And this is where the modern NBA pisses you off because it's stubborn to the day as the day is long. It's very frustrating.
Yep, that's the thing with the pace of the game and the 3-point shooting, and that being a still a difficult shot, even if you're open. That's going to leave teams always open to come back just for that reason alone, right there.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the Warriors, you're not down to your last out, but you're getting close there. Especially if you drop this
Getting there.
game at home, then you're going back to Minnesota down 3-1. It's pretty much at that
Yeah.
point, I think, inevitable.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we'll switch over, Uncle Dave, to the Eastern Conference, and let's go with the Celtics and the Knicks here. And this has been kind of a weird series too, because the Celtics, this has never happened before, right? Where teams were up 20 points at
Right.
home
Never happened in history of the NBA.
in the second half and lost both games. And the way both games went down, it kind of was similar. One was a 31-11 run, and the other was a 21-2 run. So
Sure.
just totally incredible. And then the Celtics kind of found their footing yesterday. They just buried the Knicks and won easily.
And again, the home teams have a losing record in this round.
Right, right. Well, the thing is,
Not
too,
by a little either, by a lot.
Knicks fans were feeling their oats. I'm like, look, this is a Celtics team that a few years ago came down from 3-0 against the Heat and forced a game 7. So this is a team that thinks
Plus,
they could win.
I think the Garden brings everybody's best game out too.
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, some of the best stars
This
of all time, right? They've had their best moments in Madison.
Absolutely. This series, though, 15 to 60 from three in the first game, and then 10 for 40 from three in the second game. With that said, you're up 20 in both those games. One with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, the other one with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. I'm watching all these games, and I'm sitting there saying to myself that so when that happens, what's really happened here is you realize that Al Horford is really on his last legs. First of all, he can't handle Cat right now. Cat's bullying him getting to the basket when he wants, but Cat doesn't always want to do that, and that's a big fault in his
Well,
game.
again, he's going to settle for too many jumpers too. So you just have to hope it's a coin flip night, and he's just slightly off on the outside shot that night.
And Cornette, you can see has value, but he can't cover him either. But this is where Porzingis' injury, this virus, which we don't know a lot about, is really affecting the Celtics. And the other thing is, we talked about this way back. The Celtics have a little bit of banged up right now.
Yeah,
Holiday's still not feeling good. Brown's
I know
got
you were
knee.
saying that going into the postseason, you thought they were a little vulnerable.
I thought they're a little vulnerable, and I still believe that. I still believe that if they don't get a healthy Porzingis back, that plus these other injuries, I think that the Pacers of the Cavs could beat them. Now
Charles
the Cavs
Barkley,
obviously,
yeah, Charles
Cavs
Barkley
obviously
said
got their own problems.
Porzingis is the X factor for the Celtics team. I definitely agree with him. I think when he's playing
Yeah.
well and blocking shots and giving you some timely buckets, that makes him almost impossible to beat. And but depending on who's obviously they're playing in these playoffs, but yeah, it makes them a lot tougher.
Well, the funny thing is, and again, people, again, everything today is everybody just talks about rings, rings, rings. Well, just because you didn't win the MVP of the finals, like I know Jason Tatum shooting like shit and he's too mellow for my liking, and I agree with you. But to say that he's not playing well, he's not shooting well. Let's correct this. This man's getting 13-point rebounds and 6 assists a game.
Yeah, it's a make or miss league. If the ball's going in, then you're great. If it's not going in as much, then some people will say you're trash. So
So Jaylen Brown's shooting 36% for the series. Tatum's at 32% for the series, and you're down 2-1.
Well, that's the thing. The
Now,
Celtics are probably thinking again, we should be up 3-0, and the two games we did lose, we didn't play well. So they're
right.
obviously feeling fine. And a guy like Peyton Pritchard, I think, has been the model of consistency. So you have that guy off the bench looking good. And Derek
The
White.
other thing that the other thing they're not doing, there's a lot of coaching faults in this one. Now, I'm not trying to blame Missoula. I think Missoula is just the guy who's so into the game. He doesn't have any personality, but his press conferences, it looks like he's a scared rodent. But at the same time, he's just one of these guys that just gets up there and speaks he speaks like Ben Shapiro does on the podcast. He talks 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But Peyton Pritchard, yeah, he's making himself some money in the future. But the
Oh,
thing
no
is,
question.
this series is again, it's what would you say if this was the stat? What would you say if that was the stat? Well, the problem is, like just again, the modern NBA, big problem. You're 15 for 60 and 10 for 40. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but that's 25%. The one that really pissed me off in game two, though, is Tatum gets the ball with about 3 minutes left in the right corner, and Brunson's under the basket. He settles for a three.
Yeah.
Attack the basket and dunk it on his fucking head.
I like what he
I
did
mean,
against Brunson the other night. He backed him down a couple of times and knocked his ass over. That's what you got to do a few times, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and Mitchell Robinson's actually played well. McBride's had some moments.
Oh, it's killing him I think they would play him a little bit more, but the free throw shooting when they go to Hacker Mitchell, that's what
Mitchell.
them, you know.
But that's the thing, though. Hal Horford is not shooting well anymore, so he doesn't have to chase him out on the floor as much. Cornette is not a 3-point threat. So right now, Bridges has done a great job defensively, but he's shooting 36%, and Anunoby shooting 37%. So this is not a pretty series for shooting percentages. So you got to. I mean, I know everybody loves Brunson because we love the narrative. We love the guy who maybe wasn't, highly as thought of. But let's be honest, guys. He's shooting 38% for a series. I mean, can we please stop with this, like heroic shit? Like one guy in line last week, he's telling me he's the best Nick ever.
I know, it's ridiculous. I'm like, have you heard about
this is why growing up, you can't be a fucking New York team fan because the fans just drive you fucking insane.
Yeah, they do.
So, I mean, you're telling me he's
I'm like, have you heard of Walt Frazier or Willis Reed?
Or Bernard King or Patrick Ewing? I mean, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's not even a top five Nick in my eyes. The other
exactly,
guy,
he's not. Yeah. Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley. I mean, what the Earl Monroe? We're like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
And again, I love the guy's an overachiever, all that.
Absolutely.
But again, Bridges and Anunoby and Hart got to make a shot. And Hart's shooting 51%, so you live with it. He's doing well.
This is again though my problem with Tom Thibodeau. He never has a deep enough bench, and his teams always fizzle out and they burn out. That's I think what we're maybe going to see here. I think the Knicks are obviously not a bad position, but you're one turned ankle away, or just one. Guys I think are just going to run out of gas. I mean, they looked absolutely gassed in this last game here.
It's weird because they had a couple of days off.
Yeah, it's just I think also you maybe kind of want it too badly, I think, in this kind of game. If you're the Knicks, you're home after winning 2 games in the Garden. You maybe want it a little too much, and you're pressing. And they were definitely off compared to what they were in the first 2 games. And
they're playing 7 guys basically, more than 6 minutes a game, 7 guys. So that's a little hurtful. Josh Hart has been great for his time. He's he's averaging a lot more points than he ever does, 15.7. The defense has been excellent, but don't forget. More than half the threes the Celtics have missed have been open threes. So is their ability to defense? Yeah, I guess you got to give them some credit. But at the same time, you can cheat now without Porzingis in there, and Horford's not playing well. So the thing is, the Knicks can stay at home a little more, and that means that that cat doesn't have to leave the paint as much. And no, I know he's not this great shot blocker or anything, but Al Horford right now is shooting 28% from 3. So we're not too worried about him popping threes. So the only guy that's really hitting well from 3 for the Knicks is Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, he's played the best, I think, for the honestly, he's been the most consistent Celtic, I think, in this series is him.
And the other thing that frustrates you is to begin the game the other night, Drew Holiday gets Brunson on his back and posts him up and scores. They never go to it again the rest of the night. Drew Holiday would abuse him on the block. You don't really see how tall Drew Holiday is. You don't really how strong Drew Holiday is. And so here's a guy that he's shooting over 50%. He's shooting 58% for the series. I got to get him a couple more shots. I'm not talking about threes. That's not his game. But we got to get him an 18
He's a
footer.
guy, if he has a set shot and he lines up the laces and everything, I
Yeah.
live with that shot with him. But
Yeah. So like you
other than that,
got to get him a couple more shots.
right.
But the funny thing is, this series is crazy. So the Celtics the other day shot well from three. Obviously, things are going well in that respect. The Celtics right now are playing 8 guys over 20 minutes. That's how I always look at it. 8 guys over 10 minutes. I mean, that's how I always look at a bench. So Porzingis was 6. He's played 15 minutes. Cornette's playing 15 minutes also. But
Like
mainly
what you
they're
said, I
playing.
think what you touched on, what's staggering is Brown 36% from the field and Tatum 32%. You know that's not going to last.
Well, the thing that they're really
Celtics
missing too is Hauser with the ankle injury. He's only played one game. He
Yeah.
played 4 minutes.
Yeah, he's a guy who can give you some outside shooting and some
Right.
more punch off the bench.
And the other thing is Derek White's not going to shoot 40% forever. I'm just here to tell you that.
Yeah,
Derek White's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. He's a fantastic player. He's getting 8 rebounds a game. He's not going to last with that situation either. He's going to eventually
come back down to
step
earth.
his game up.
Yeah.
So Derek White's going to be his game's going to get better. So I mean he's a tough player. But this series is such a mess
This has
statistically
been another
speaking.
weird series. It's like the Thunder and Nugget series. It's just been very odd.
Well, again, they always say it's a make it league, but in this
Yeah, make
case,
or miss. Yeah.
it's a make it league. But if you're not making it, you got to do something else. And the Celtics refuse to do that.
Well, how about the Celtics? Right? They said what was it? A franchise record for most postseason misses from the 3-point line, 45.
Sure. Wait,
Okay.
again, I think if you see the Pacers and the Celtics advance, you will see a game with 100 total threes in it.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
that's
You
the
will
end of
see
the
a
game
game.
as we know it.
You will see a game with over 100 threes. Now, I know one of our first shows was about the record break.
Yeah, it was
King
our third
performance, I think it
our
was the
third
Wolves.
show. I think I believe it was the Bullets, the Bullets, the Bulls and the Hornets, where it was
Right.
both teams combined for the two times in 2 weeks, the most misses in a 3-point game. It was 77.
Right. So I think if those two teams play, you will see 100 3-pointers attempted in a game. Or at least once in that series. I'm telling you right now. Because they're going to let it fly. The Pacers, I've never seen a team, even more so than the Celtics, who believe in letting it fly. They're just going to let it go. And obviously tonight, which we'll talk about in a minute, that worked for the Pacers. But my point is, the Knicks are shooting 41% for the series, 33 from 3. Celtics are under 40% for the series in every total. That's incredibly bad. Knicks free throw shooting, mostly because Robinson has hurt them. But at the same time, again, if I'm the Celtics, I post up Tatum, I post up Brown, and I attack Cat because he can't cover when they do those switches. And this is again why the modern NBA plays no defense except till the playoffs when you're allowed to grab. If you're going to switch everything and you got Cat covering Tatum or Brown,
Yeah, it's
can
over.
you imagine again just switching with Michael Jordan or switching with Larry Bird? Like you're gonna leave Cat on one of those two guys? I mean, holy shit, it would just be
Well,
incredible.
at times
Jordan would
that
never
Tatum and
lose.
Brown do attack, they have been drawing fouls on him. And the Knicks,
Absolutely.
if Towns gets in foul trouble, then they're really fucked because Mitchell Robinson, if he has to play more than 20 minutes, you're
Yeah.
screwed because they're going to go to the hack of Mitchell, and that could, I mean, he airballed a free throw the other night. So obviously the Celtics
Sure.
like doing that. If he's out there and he has to play extensive minutes, they're just going to keep going to that. And it's an ugly kind of form of basketball, but I'm sorry if you can't make a foul shot, they're going to keep going to that. They deserve to keep going to that if you can't make them.
Well, it's funny you say that because Cat's playing significantly less minutes than the other 4 starters, and that's because of the foul trouble.
Yes.
He's averaging 4.3 fouls per contest, and that's by far the most on the Knicks.
And I like Karl Anthony Towns, but there's times where he just does not think on certain plays and he commits just a really dumb foul or he just
Sure.
has a really dumb shot. So mentally, he just comes and goes for you.
I give him credit, though. He's rebounded more than he ever has. He's getting 15 boards a game.
Yeah,
I
he's
give him
playing
credit for
tough.
that.
He's not playing soft. Yeah, he's playing tough.
Mentally, though, you're right. He gets frustrated with his fouls, but I have to say he's been better this year in the playoffs than he has been in the past. That's not saying much because he's been horrendous. But I
And he's an
think
excellent
maybe,
foul shooter. He was 10 for
yeah,
11 the other night, so he could shoot the free throws really
they
well.
got to. I mean, Anunoby and Bridges are shooting 37 and 36% respectively. They got to get a little more out of them. Brunson's working way too hard for the shots. It's way too
Like
easy.
you said,
Miles,
every time he hits the floor, you're waiting for a turned ankle. He's like you said, he
yeah,
leaves the floor
and
a
I
bunch
have to
of
say,
times,
Miles
not
McBride's
well.
been good. Miles McBride shooting 57%.
Yeah, I think you got to find a way to get him a couple more shots. I think honestly,
Yeah, I mean, just give him a look. He's averaging 18 minutes.
he
He's
gets
just
his
seven.
feet set and he squares his body. He's making them most of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So I mean, we got to give him a look. And Cameron Payne,
I
obviously,
we've been on that bandwagon too. Get him a little more minutes. I think Cameron Payne. I
yep.
think as well.
Yeah, he's been getting 5. He's done a good job for Jalen when he's in there. But the point is it's just a crazy series. And if I would get Brunson some more of a rest, maybe a little bit, maybe get him an extra minute in each half. That'll help you a lot. And you say, well, who's going to bring the ball up? But nobody presses full court anymore, so it doesn't matter who brings the ball up. And again, we actually, to say at the end of the game, we've seen again in the pros, just like in college, press offense has been really bad and for OKC in the one game and for Cleveland in the other game. So it's been a problem.
The thing, what
It's
I'm looking at, what's going to maybe play a factor is if Porzingis, obviously, if he gets a little healthier, will this be a factor? The Celtics being able to wear the Knicks down because of their depth. That's to me
sure.
the $1 million question. I think the Knicks that's been my concern with them all year is that, and again, this has kind of been the MO with Coach Thibodeau that it's never has enough scoring on his teams, and he just not enough depth, not enough doesn't play enough guys. You need that seventh and eighth guy, I think, to really sometimes kind of not carry you certain nights, but help you get through the finish line. They never seem to have that on his team. So you're going to have a situation here where I'm thinking, is this the same song, different verse type of thing with his teams? So we're going to
Yeah,
see
but
that plays
he's
out.
never had enough scoring. It's always funny though, but his teams always defend a little bit. This year is not a great defensive team because Cat and Brunson can't cover
I think he
anybody.
gets the most out of his teams. Those guys always play hard for him. I like him as a coach because he is a grit
Yeah.
and grind kind of guy. So I do like that.
It's just that today's guys don't take advantage of the bad defenders that are out there. And that's what I was saying to you about Drew Holiday posted up Brunson at first play of the series, and they didn't go back to it. I'm like,
Well,
he's
that's the
totally
thing that I
frustrated.
would do if I'm the Celtics. Anyone who Brunson's guarding, I would just go at him, I think, and just try to wear him out.
Yeah.
Because he's
Well, that's
working
what
like crazy on the offensive end. Just wear his ass out.
that's what the Celtics did to Luca last year, as we saw. But also the Thunder right now are attacking Joker a little bit, not a lot. But you can wear people out. You got to make them play both
Yeah,
ends of the floor.
make Brunson defend. Just make him constantly set screens on him and try to wear him down. That's what I would do if I'm the Celtics. I would kind of focus on that. Now, obviously, you got to go to where where the good shot is and who's got a hot hand. Obviously, those type of things. You can't just be headhunting. But I think every chance I get, I would maybe say, hey, try to rip through and get in this guy's chest, maybe bang him down on a screen, and play a little bit of that game. I think in the first 12 minutes and see how it goes.
What's frustrating is that if you love the 3-pointer, the best way to do it is to post the guy up.
Yeah, play
Post the
inside
guy
out.
up, post the guy up, and make him double and pay. What do you think? All those guys who played
I
for the
like
Lakers for all those years
the
could shoot?
the 3-point shots I like are from when the ball's coming from the inside out. I think those are easier 3-point shots than if you're catching it from the top of the key on a wing. I think even seeing
Right.
the
And so,
seeing the
yeah,
ball come out from underneath the basket, I think is always, especially even someone like me who played. I think I prefer that type of pass from inside the interior coming out to me. So you're already
yeah.
squared. I think that's the better
So
shot.
And so if you love the 3, why not try it that way? You can
Yeah.
still get your threes if you're obsessed with it, but why not try it that way? It's just the common sense here. But the bad news is we don't have any common sense anymore. We just want to do things the easy way. And again, just coming down, the ball doesn't move, it sticks, and then all of a sudden we get a 3. But the thing is, in this series, Tatum could post up. Brown is an excellent post player, very strong in the lane. Why not see if you can get him in there, post him up? He'll kick it out. He's a willing passer. So is Tatum. And then obviously Porzingis, when he comes back, is not willing to go in the post. That's not who he is. But at the same time, you don't have to be a post player to post up. And if you're the Knicks, Cat could get in that post and he can make things happen. Again, when you're in the post, you don't have to play with your back to the basket. Dave Robinson made a living just reverse pivoting and
Reverse
playing.
pivot, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to just do that. Yeah, true. Tim Duncan.
Yep. Dave Robinson, Tim Duncan really rarely made post moves.
It's incredible though. I mean, if the Celtics really just don't totally just squander the game, obviously you got to give the Knicks some credit. It's not just a Celtics collapse
Well, the funny
coming
thing
back.
is,
But if they just tighten up, you're up 3-0 in this series.
I've never seen a game four in my life that tells you more about a series than this one coming up. Now, people
Yeah.
could say, well, that's stupid to say, but I really believe if the Celtics win tomorrow, they're going to just run them.
Yeah.
But if the Knicks win tomorrow, they're going to. I know it sounds stupid to say if the Knicks win tomorrow, they're going to win. You'd say, of course, but that's not the way everybody feels. The Celtics were down 2-0 and still favored to win the series, which is really kind of crazy if you
Like I
think
said,
about
too, a
it.
couple years ago, down 3-0 to the Heat, and they came all the way back. So this is a team that obviously Coach Mazzulla, they're not going to quit. They're not going to pack it
Yeah.
in.
So
They
to
came all
me,
the way back.
this team, this game tomorrow night decides the winner of the series. Because I think if the Celtics win tomorrow night, they're definitely going to win it.
Yeah,
And if the Knicks win, they're definitely going to win.
this is kind of like a game five with
Yep.
the the Thunder and the Nuggets. Kind of has that feel to it a little bit because, like I said, I think if the Celtics they left it opening for the Knicks, and if the Knicks don't close on that, then the Celtics are like, all right, we got them in our back pocket now.
Sure.
We're not losing another one at the crib. That's the mindset if they win
Yeah.
tomorrow night.
True.
All right, we'll go over Uncle Dave to this last series here with the Cavaliers and the Pacers, and I think the Cavaliers, if they wind up losing this series, Game 2 is going to be the one that haunts them.
Oh God, yeah.
With Halliburton getting his own rebound there, and I think that was just a killer game to go down there, especially when you had three guys down too. It felt like the Cavaliers were gonna, if they could steal one there, that would have maybe changed the whole series. And then tonight they get blown. And I give them credit though for winning the first game back in Indiana, Game 3. But this kind of looks like it might be over for Cleveland here, especially dropping tonight.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble. I think tonight, obviously, the Pacers, I think, came out and hit 10 of their first 14 threes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, uh, how does that happen? You probably were the person who let that happen a little bit. But also, they didn't score well in the first half, and I don't know what's happened to their inside advantage. I love the Pacers' big guy, Miles Turner. I've been a big fan of Miles Turner for many years.
Yep, he's just been a model
Uh,
of consistency.
yeah. And he's a very consistent player, like you said. The other thing I love about him is he's just like, he's not a guy that's doing too much talking on the court, but I really thought that Mobley and Allen together would be able to really leave Indiana, who is vulnerable inside, because Toppin has not really improved that much as a player. Let's be honest. It's disappointing that he's still a jump shooter at his size. But at the same time, they're very vulnerable on the inside. And here we are with Turner only getting 28.9 minutes a game. Well, tonight they probably rested him a lot because of the blowout, but still, the situation is they're vulnerable inside, and the combination of Allen and Mobley has not done what I thought they could do. Mobley's getting 19 points a game, which is great, but he only played 2 games. The injury bug has affected this series almost as much as the Golden State one because
Yes.
they
Yep.
they missed Garland tremendously.
Game
Garland's
two,
only
you had
played
no you had no Garland, no Hunter, and there was who else was not in that game? Garland, Hunter, and Mobley. So you were down three guys in that game too. So obviously the
Yep.
fact that they were even able to win that game and a chance to win that was incredible. And then to lose it the way they did was just that's a heartbreaking loss.
Yeah, so it's a tough situation right now because you know Mobley and like I said, Allen, I thought were going to be a different team, and like they haven't had that. Obviously, Spider Mitchell's been pretty good, obviously, but again, he hasn't shot well from three. They're really giving it. He's shooting 22% from three, so that's not a good situation for him. But at the same time, they're down 3-1. I think they're in big trouble, but if you look, Mobley's getting 19 a game and Allen's getting 17 a game, but somehow it's not basically it's not putting enough impact on the series. If you look at the numbers here, sounds good on paper. Jared Allen shooting 70% and Mobley's at 57%. But at the same time, again, we missed Mobley for a game. That was huge. Garland missed 2 games, and the injury bug is it's stuck its ugly head out there. Ty Jerome has been cooled off this series, shooting 24% basically for the series. So they've obviously matched up to him. But the pace of play for the Pacers is definitely a weird pace. I think it's the fastest pace in the NBA. Just watching it with the naked eye, but it's a hell of a pace. It's actually fun to watch.
But
It's Rick
Cleveland,
Carlisle
I
at
will
his
say
best.
this: if you're able to get this game five in Cleveland, then you have a fighter's chance at that point. Then
You do. You do.
you have
I
to
just
obviously
feel
win this next game. But if they win that one, I'm going to give them a chance, though. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that they're in big trouble only because, like I said, it's for some reason it is not translating what the big guys are doing. And so, it's just crazy to try to figure out why that is. But that game tonight, it's hard to evaluate anything because it was such a blowout. So
Yeah,
really, I want to say it was near 40 points at the half, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, it was. Yeah,
But at the same time, at least the guys didn't play too much. But again, Mobley and Allen,
evaluate that
Allen,
game.
Allen takes one shot in 20 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Spider's 3 for 11, and I've said this before. Spider Mitchell's had a great year. I give him credit. He says all the right things, but he's an all-star, but he's not the top of the league.
Yeah,
I know,
He's
like,
not D Wade, basically, is what you're saying. He's not doesn't
no,
have
he's not Giannis. He's not Curry. He's not Joker.
he's that
He's
second
not.
tier of
Yeah,
studs in the NBA. Yeah.
exactly. So, and you can say, well, what about Tatum and Brown? Yeah, but there's two of them on one
Right,
team.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep.
and so the thing is, I mean, Spider has done a great job, but again, he's not shooting well from three. Strus is playing pretty well. Like I said, they got to get Garland back in there, and again, he's not even totally healthy yet. So the injury bug has hurt them. Tonight we had that
Well,
whole
that's the
thing
thing.
with
I think if they lose this series, I think that's going to be you're going to point to that and that the injuries it was just timely injuries, guys going down at the wrong time. That's what you're going to chalk it up to.
yeah, well they're winning game two, right, with all those injuries anyway, right?
They were, yeah. They had three guys down. Three of their main guys were
And
down.
they're up in that game.
Yeah,
They're
they
up in
should have
that game
won.
by 6 with about 30
Yeah,
seconds left.
30
I want to
seconds
say.
left. They should have won that game. Yeah, well, I mean, but it was the play too. I'm sure you remember where Neesmith comes in off of a foul shot and he dunks the ball. It's like no
Yeah,
blockout on him, and that was
no
part of
block out
the
on
reason why
him.
they die. Yeah, and with on that game, they lose on
Yep.
that one play like that.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be well, this game Wednesday night, this game Tuesday night should be interesting. Tomorrow night it's going to be great. I mean, the Wolves Golden State game is like a third grade house league game at St. Pat's. I'm not looking forward to this. I mean, it's like, first team to 20 wins. I mean, this is going to be ugly tomorrow. August. I guess the Warriors have to ugly it up and do whatever they can.
And you
And I
got to muck
respect
it up,
that.
and you got to maybe have Draymond just talk a bunch of crap, and like you said, get the game kind of nasty looking, and hope you could. And like you said, the Wolves kind of have been kind of weird this postseason, so they're going to give you a shot. So if you have Jimmy Butler or Kuminga have nights like they had last night, then maybe you're going to have a chance because you really could have won this last game. I thought the Warriors had a real chance to win it. They were in striking distance in the fourth quarter there to win this thing. It just
Sure.
Anthony Edwards kind of makes some timely key plays for them, and they wind up pulling away. But they had a shot.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a tough series. I thought the Pacers were really solid in game one, obviously. Again, though, I think they're a better team. I thought that they would give Cleveland hell. We talked about this before the series started, but I didn't get to see three injuries. But that being said, I can't use the injuries as the excuse in one respect because they were up late by 6
Yeah, in game two.
with about 30 seconds left, and so they gave that thing away
No,
with
if
some
you're think of it,
crazy plays.
if you're an objective fan and an honest self-assessor, you're going to say, "Hey, this should be 2-2 this series. We should have had that game, and
Yep, you should have had.
this thing should be all tied up right now." If you're
And then
Ken
in game
Atkinson, you're
three, game three, Cleveland gets out 13-0. It was never a game.
no.
But at the same time, you got to trust that the Pacers can be mature. You hope that the Pacers, Rick Carlisle right now is got to be talking to them about the same thing he was talking to them about before game three. You can't mail this game in. You're going to have to go out and fight.
Oh, especially
But
because game seven would be in Cleveland, so you're really
right,
down to you have one great chance if you drop this game here.
right. So
Game
you want
seven,
to,
anything can happen.
if you feel you're better than them, you want to play
No, Coach
tonight.
Carlisle, I guarantee you, is like we put the knife in them in this next game. That's what you
Yeah.
can do.
But he's concerned about the immaturity of that team. Now, obviously Halliburton's a talented player, but he is very emotional. I could see him being the guy being like, "Don't worry, we got it on game 6."
Right.
Like, you don't want to leave it to that as a coach. As a coach, you just you're gonna
And
have
the
a
reason
fucking
I do give him a
seizure.
chance is because game six is on your home floor and it's your last life.
Right.
So you're going to be playing as hard as you can to get that win. So if Indiana is semi disinterested, they might get blown in that game. That could happen.
Well, if they're disinterested on Tuesday, I think they are going to get blown. And
You
then
know,
all the pressure's on Indiana when they go back home for game 6, and that's not a situation you want to be in.
and you're thinking if you're going
But
to have a motivated Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland because this is a closeout game for them on their home floor. I think they're going to bring it. So this is going to be
Yeah.
a tough one for Indiana, I think, to come away with this.
Yeah, we had the whole mishap tonight with Marquand and
Yeah, that's
Hunter.
another thing
Obviously,
too. We don't know what the kind of the temperature of the room is going to be. Obviously, it might be boiling hot in that game because
yeah,
this is going to be the first game since that. Yeah, with the push and everything like that. So yeah, yeah, you could have some tempers flaring, and
it's
it could be
funny though.
really
The
hot
one guy
finally.
who played well tonight for the Cavs was Garland. He went 6 for 11, but so maybe they can get something out of that. But with Allen and Mobley, they got to make somebody pay in there. And Miles Turner is just he's having it too much his way. Tonight he gets 20 points and 7 boards. Like you gotta think about punishing these guys somehow. And right now they're just not doing it. 41-37 on the board. The Cavs did win, but the Cavs got to find a way to make this a little bit more about the inside game, and they're not doing it.
Yeah, what's disappointing about tonight is, like you said, it's hard to even self-assess or even get like take anything away from this game. It was just a complete. You can't even the tape. You might just throw this thing away. That's the one you could say there's good and bads about getting blown out. You don't really expend much energy, but at the same time, you can't take anything positive away from it as far as we can make this adjustment here or there because it just was, like you said, by halftime this game felt like it was a wrap. So
Yeah, it's very frustrating because you're not getting what you need out of it. You don't get to really watch the tape and, like you said, get anything out of it. And that is a real thing. But right now, the biggest number in the series difference is that the Pacers are shooting 42% from three, and the Cavs are shooting 30% from three.
that's the series right there. Just this that's
So
that.
Max Strus is shooting 40% from three, but he's taking about 8.8 threes a game. But obviously, he's not getting any help in the 3-point category from anybody else. Like I said, Mitchell 22%, Garland 25%. Donovan's taking 9 threes a game. I think he's got to get off that a little bit. I think he's got to just get out of there and he's got to
Yeah,
get
it's
to the
like
free throw
It's
line.
like Joker with Denver. It's like you got to get away from that shot. I think for some of these guys.
Yeah, and Ty Jerome is shooting 15% from three. Man, that was up for sixth man of the year. So that's hurt them. The kid Merrill's shooting 5 threes a night. I don't really need Sam Merrill shooting 5 threes a night. I think that's a little bit too much freedom there. So I'd like to see them pull it in and
Especially
maybe
with
get their
Donovan
rack a
Mitchell,
little
Uncle
more.
Dave. You're only shooting 22% from three for this series. Get away from that. Get to the cup. Pull
Yeah,
ups.
well, and the thing is, we talked about this. Miles Turner, after him, there's not a lot of rim protection. He's not even a great rim protector himself.
No, he's not.
And I love Miles Turner, but if you could get him in foul trouble and attack the basket, there's not a lot of shot blocking
Donovan
going on
Mitchell,
there.
put your head down and go downhill and try to dunk on this guy. That's what you should be doing most of the game. Now, obviously the catch and shoot threes, the ones that you got that are wide open with your body squared, sure, let that shit fly. But these contested ones, though, off the dribble and everything, leave that alone.
But what you love is they have 8 guys averaging 9 points or over a game for
Yeah,
the series.
yeah.
And the thing is,
Well,
again,
that's
the
the
reason
thing
is
with the Pacers. They're kind of like OKC in the East. They can just wear you down. It's like, a school of piranhas. That's how it feels like when you play them.
the beauty of them too is they just have 2 old school pros who are guys who are the next level, not the look at me guys. Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner are both guys who've been good in this league for a long time.
Plus, TJ
The,
McConnell off the bench. You have a veteran
yep,
guy who can come in and run the offense
Pascal
for you.
Siakam
Yep.
is an all-star on many teams.
He contributed to that
Also,
Toronto team that won a championship with
yep,
Kawhi Leonard.
he's very, very good player. He's that borderline guy. He's going to be one of these guys that when he leaves the NBA, you're going to realize how good he was.
He's like a David
Uh,
West kind of guy. Reminds you of that.
yep.
He's just a model of consistency. Not going to bitch, and he's
But
going to get you his 16, 17, and he's going to shoot, close to 50%, and he's going to play hard. Just
well,
going to.
so here he is. He's shooting 60% for the series. That's incredible. He's getting 6 boards and
Yeah.
3.5
It's not, a
assists.
lot of his shots are also shots that are not threes, but around the perimeter though. So it's not just all
And
layup.
again,
And
Nemhard and Nesmith 48% for the series. Nesmith 55% for the series. Just ridiculous. Incredible depth, incredible, shooting percentages for the series.
yeah, it's a well-run team. That's just a testament to Rick Carlisle as a coach. They just
and
really, really well organized.
Carlisle's team again for the series is shooting over 50%. That's unheard of for a series where defense usually, and Cleveland had a good defensive resume all year. But the Pacers' pace of play, they are appropriately named the Pacers, and it's wearing them down. And they got to get some more inside baskets, and they're not shooting it well from three. And like I said, Nemhard and Nesmith are excellent defenders in this league. Miles Turner is good, but he's not great because he's not a great shot blocker. He does his job, but they're getting some production on defense. And Siakam's also a good defender. So you have those three guys out there. Mathurin's a good defender. McConnell's very tough. Toppin could even be a better defender. There's some defenders there. And even a kid like Ben Shepherd playing 12 minutes a night. So, you know, they're definitely trying to wear you out. And they're doing it.
They sure are. They sure are. I think, like you said, also the 12% difference in the 3-point shooting and the 7% difference in the field goal percentage overall, threes and twos.
Oh God.
That's just,
Oh God. 12% in threes is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
that's
it's
why you're going to get
enormous.
some lopsided games there. Yeah, it's just like you said. Also, a lot of it is just who's putting the ball in the hole and who's not. It's a lot of it's that. The margin
Yeah,
of error is
but you gotta
so
you
close.
gotta punish Indiana in the side. Gotta get Mobley and Allen getting the high low going here because both
Yeah.
of them have played
Well, the
pretty
problem
well.
is
But
Allen. He's not like you said a back to the basket player. He's a high low guy. Maybe he can catch a lob, and throw a lob.
yeah,
But
but Mobley can handle that ball out there. I mean, Mobley right now shooting 54% for the series, getting 16 points a game. Again, 4 of his shots are threes a game. That's okay. I don't mind a couple of them, but Jesus Christ, I mean, get your ass in there and dunk on somebody's head.
yep, I need Mitchell
Jaron
going to
Allen.
the bucket more too. That's what I need. That's also
And look at Jaron Allen here. 68% for the series. I mean, you got to ask yourself, okay, 68% for the series. We got to get him a couple of more lobs, a couple of more dumps in the dunker spot. We
Well,
got
that's
to get
also
him a
what I'm
couple
talking
more
about with
touches.
Mitchell driving to the basket. You might have a few more
Yeah,
lobs at the rim. Don't settle for that outside shot. I don't want you shooting 9 threes a game. Like I said, the ones that are your catch and shoot in rhythm, you take those. But the ones off the dribble, off screens, go downhill. Again, no one's defending him. I think on that team. I think 1-on-1, you need a team effort to stop Donovan Mitchell. He's just a freak athlete. I need him being aggressive, going downhill, attacking that
sure.
bucket. So that's what I would tell him if I'm Coach
Yeah,
Atkinson for
it's
this.
going to be wild.
But obviously, like I said, the fact that you're down 3-1, but you're not playing in Indiana, you're going to be home, so you're going to be juiced for that one. So, and if
Sure.
you're saying to yourself, hey, look, we get this one. If we get that a game in Indiana, game seven's back at the crib, we're going to close that thing out. So that's the logic you're thinking if you're a player for the Cowboys.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm going to give him a chance. The fact that, it's 3 games, but 2 of them will be at home. So, but obviously, it doesn't matter. You got to come and
But
play to
again,
win
though, I think the
next game.
pressure on these teams, like a Cleveland and like an OKC. OKC obviously got punched in the mouth, but they punched back today.
Yes.
Cleveland did not.
No.
And so now again, this is a team they've tried to break up for several years. We've talked about this a lot. They tried to get Allen and Mobley apart, said they couldn't play together. Tried to get Mitchell and Garland apart, said they couldn't play together. They've given them a chance. This is going to be one of these teams if they go down in 5 or even 6.
Yeah, it's going to
You
be
watch
tempting. Yeah.
you watch the overreaction. You're going to get to this.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Teams have to grow. Some teams grow painfully slow. Some teams never grow. Those ones, obviously, Cleveland has grown. You saw what they did this year. But that doesn't mean you grow all the way on the first try.
No,
All
exactly.
right. So doesn't
Well,
mean
the
we start
Pacers are a
running.
hell of a team. This might be an NBA Finals appearing team here.
Right. We don't go from crawling to running. We go from crawling to walking to running. All right. We just don't do that. So don't forget, Indiana's already been punched in the mouth. This is a team that had to play the Eastern Conference Finals last year without Halliburton for a couple of games. They've been through some tough series with the Knicks last year. This team has already been punched in the face. It's different when you get punched in the face and you're supposed to be the favorite. So Cleveland and OKC is supposed to be the favorite. OKC looked shaky today with about 10 minutes left, but they survived. Cleveland has to do the same because it's really late. And
But again, we talk
tell you
about
what,
the favorite, but that's just that team being better over the course of 82 games. That doesn't really mean it's not the same as being in a playoff series at that point.
Sure.
So it could be
Well,
misleading, I think.
plus from a coach's standpoint, the preparation for a playoff series is 1,000 times more than a one game during regular
Of
season.
course.
So, for
Yeah.
example, I fly into Cleveland if I'm Indiana on a Tuesday night. I just played 2 nights ago. All right, I got my scouting report. I got my advanced team ahead of it, rotating guys. I got all my film. I get all cut up for each player. I'm ready to go. Now in the NBA playoffs, all right, game 1 didn't go my way. I got 2 days to make adjustments, not think about anybody else. I don't have to get ready for anybody else now. I don't have to get ready for a game 3 days from now because the team I'm playing 3 days from now is the same as the team I'm playing tomorrow.
This is where coaches earn their weight in gold here. Right
Exactly. And so my point is that's where it's different. And so I'm not saying that Cleveland wasn't the best team in the East. Obviously they were. But my point is you give a guy like Rick Carlisle, who's been around, who's been an excellent coach for a long time. We all know that. He did a great job on the Heat in 2011. He did a great job with those Maverick teams. I never should have let him go. Basically, this is a guy that can really coach, and we love Kenny Atkinson. He can really coach too. I just think right now, sometimes you get a matchup that even though you're a better team, you're not better versus them.
Right.
And I'm really thinking that you got to get this ball inside and you got to punish them where it hurts.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in this next game. All right, Uncle Dave, good place to wrap it up here. All right. So,
Sure.
all you basketball friends out there, live long and prosper. May the force be with you.
Peace.